where we actually become Pokemon.
And explore the infinitely changing dungeons.
Oh yeah, let's do this.
Okay, I'm going in.
Look at this mystery dungeon.
Ooh, how about this one?
Or this one. Or this one.
We could be exploring these dungeons forever.
Welcome back to Retro Rebound. In today's video, join me as we crawl through some mystery dungeons together because, ladies and gentlemen, we are diving into one heck of an underrated Pokemon series. Many of you already know this about me, but for those who do not, I bounced out of the Pokemon series around Black and White. Mega Man Battle Network just slid in my life and the rest is history. Now, there was one Pokemon series I did keep up with during my hiatus until Sun and Moon, and that was Pokemon Mystery Dungeon. I absolutely love what I've played of this series. I do have some catching up to do, I'll explain in this video, but today I want to answer the question, is it really that bad? I looked at the Metacritic for this series and was aghast at some of the scores I saw critics giving this game because I don't get it. From the original Mystery Dungeon all the way up to Super Mystery Dungeon, these games are ranking in the 50s and 60s consistently. It disgusts me. So I'm here to talk about, is it really truly that bad? For some, yes. For me, absolutely not. It was one of the reasons why I stayed into Pokemon when I just started to bounce off that mainline series. So ladies and gentlemen, break out your 3DS, or if you like the remake, break out your Switch. It's time to dive into some mystery dungeons and talk about all four, technically 5 games that are out for this series. So ladies and gentlemen, if you're new here, you're into nostalgic and retrospective content, consider subscribing. Let's get into the first one, which is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team. There's also Red Rescue Team. This was a Game Boy Advance game as well. This is the cheaper version. Believe it or not, based off our series, I know you may have a tough time believing this. I got this copy from GameStop, actually. 30 bucks. Not bad. And you won't believe the quality here, and all the inserts are in here. It's incredible. So we're gonna go through this complete in box. I don't have the remake here because I'm gonna be real with y'all. I don't like the artwork, man. I don't like the 3D models. It just, the pixel art in this game and Sky and Time and Darkness were, oh, so good. I just feel icky playing the remake, but that's also available on Switch if you are curious about this game once I'm done talking about it. So let's read the back of the box. It says, introducing the newest Pokemon, you. What if you woke up one day and you were a Pokemon? What if all of a sudden you find yourself in a new world where you can speak and interact with other Pokemon? The adventure begins when you and your partner Pokemon set out on rescue missions in a world ravaged by natural disasters. But what is your true purpose and destiny in this Pokemon world? That's the real mystery. The contents of Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team and Red Rescue Team are almost the same. Please purchase either one according to the system you want to use. Imagine them putting that on the back of any other box now. When I saw that, I went, oh, Nintendo dropped that little tactic years ago, it seems. Like, hey, by the way, they're the same thing. Don't buy the dual pack that we sell now. No, no more warning for you, friends. It also says using passwords, you can rescue friends in need who have the Red Rescue Team version as well as the Blue Rescue Team, and this game is not compatible with other Pokemon versions for Game Boy or Game Boy Advance. It describes an exciting and dramatic story and pulls you into a world involving a world of Pokemon never seen before, using various moves and items to complete your rescue missions and increase your team's reputation. There's also 380 Pokemon that you'll meet on your journey that you can become friends with and have them join your team, and strategic battles enhance the adventure as you explore deep dungeons and towering mountains. Okay, let's get into literally what I believe is one of the best complete in box experiences that you can have for a DS game. First and foremost, I want to get into these slips. These slips are beautiful. Pokemon Ranger, remember this one, the thing that would destroy your Nintendo 3DS? But wait till you see the inside and some of the promotions here. I've been collecting Pokemon cards. I've been grading them as well. EX Crystal Guardians, what a throwback that is. Lucario on DVD. On the back here, you got the Cartoon Network Battle Frontiers promotion. Just a real throwback here. Wait till you see what's in some of the slips in the other boxes. It's awesome. We also have the Nintendo Power promotion here for Blue Rescue Team. And on the inside, you can see the official player guide from Nintendo Power. Just a great throwback here. I love seeing this kind of stuff. So here on the back, we also have, wait, is it the same? It is the same. Okay, ignore that. But anyway, that's what comes with a complete in box copy of Blue Rescue Team. let's take a look at, I kid you not, probably the best manual we've seen on this channel yet. Just watch this. It's literally page 1. You open up, you have the content page, and then look at this. Oh my God. Literally, when I was going through this to get ready for the video, I audibly went, oh wow. Like, that is some beautiful art there. So the story, it says this game takes place in a world where there are no humans, only Pokemon. You, a human, out of the blue, have come to this world and been turned into a Pokemon. Your senses and feelings are also becoming more like a Pokemon. Why have you turned into a Pokemon? It is up to you to solve this mystery on your adventure. I want to stop there because we're going to kind of break this up and go through it gradually. The reason why this is important, because to me, I feel Mystery Dungeon resembles how we are in the real world with Pokemon, because as you get into deeper entries in the series, you'll have to use your finger to touch the screen. And the idea is like, we're the human world and the games are the Pokemon world where only the Pokemon exist. So when you make contact with that bottom touch screen and you kind of transmit yourself into that world, it's like you literally are entering this unique world of Pokemon. It may sound a little gimmicky, but I just love the imagination behind it personally. So let's move on to the next page. I mean, like I told y'all, look at this. Look at the beautiful artwork. Look how they describe some of these Pokemon, like Charmander, a lizard Pokemon, tiny turtle, mouse, seed Pokemon. What else do we got here? Some of these starters are great. A leaf Pokemon, fire mouse, big jaw, a wood gecko. Trico's my favorite, by the way, from Gen 3, by the way. I just got to throw that out there. I love Gen 3 so much. Anyway, these are some of your starters. They go through the basic controls and they start getting into what's going on in the field. So for those who don't know, what happens in this game is you run through roguelike dungeons. They are just random each time. They're different each time. And you're gonna wander around until you find a staircase that leads you deeper or higher, depending on your location, into a dungeon. And once you get to the very end, you're going to rescue a Pokemon that needs your help. And as you'll see here in the game flow, you create your own rescue team, you'll check your mailbox, you'll also check the bulletin board, and you'll get ready to go on adventures and you'll clear these dungeons out. Now, as you get deeper in the game, you're gonna unlock more mechanics and you can add different Pokemon into your rescue team. Now, before you do any of that, the real defining point in the series to me is the questionnaire at the start of the game. There's one entry in the series that doesn't have it, but the other 3 do have it. So when you start off, you're going to answer a series of questions. And in 2 of these games, once you finish the questionnaire, those 2 games being Explorers of Sky, and of course that means Time and Darkness too, but also Blue Rescue Team, Red Rescue Team, what's going to happen is you're going to answer these questions and they choose a Pokemon for you based off your answers. Now, once you get to Super Mystery Dungeon, one of the best parts about that game is if you don't like the pick, you can choose someone else, but it doesn't revoke the questionnaire. It kind of gives you a suggestion and you can go, no, I didn't want that one. I want this Pokemon over here instead. So it gives you the ability to enjoy the questionnaire, but circumnavigate if you don't like it. Here in this game, the amount of times as a kid I restarted the questionnaire because I didn't like my pick was one time too many. But don't worry, this time me and Todd Howard the Trico are together in Blue Rescue Team and we're having a great time as part of Team Battle Network. It's awesome. I just love that you can name things in this game. It speaks to the soul. Now, as it shows in the manual here, you're gonna have a team rank, and as you complete different missions, your team rank will go up. You'll be able to take on different jobs. You'll also earn money that you can spend on a variety of storefronts that we will see in just a couple of pages as they walk us through every mechanic in battle, which is a whole conversation unto itself. These being those facilities, you'll see here, the rescue team base is where you like save your game, Kecleon shop, Felicity Bank, Wigglytuff Club, the Gulpin Link shop, Kangaskhan Storage, the Makuhita Dojo, Pelipper's Post Office, the Whiscash Pond. These facilities all have different uses. They're pretty consistent throughout the game. You'll see here again, the rescue team base lets you save your game. The Kecleon shop, this is where you can buy TMs and items. You're gonna need a lot of items because as you go through the various dungeons in this game, you're, for example, gonna have a hunger rating, which is called belly, and you'll need to eat. If you don't eat, then you will pass out and you'll have to restart the dungeon. That's not too fun, but also you're gonna need to make sure you're getting those orange berries in. You're also going to be able to store your money because when you die, you lose money. Yeah, this game's a Souls-like, go figure. There's the storage facility so you can make sure you don't lose any items. Linking moves is great, so one turn you can use multiple moves. We'll talk about combat in a little bit as we get deeper into the series. The dojo lets you power level. The Wigglytuff Club lets you meet with friends online, because one of the cool features with this game is right here, you'll see wireless communication. This was special to the DS version because what it did is allowed you to go out and rescue friends online or ask friends to rescue you. Now, one really cool thing this game has here is the dual slot. So let's say I had Blue Rescue Team here on DS, and then I had Red Rescue Team over on my Game Boy Advance. It's one of the few games that communicates to the other game in the separate cartridge. And so you could rescue one team, like say your Blue Rescue Team with your Red Rescue Team, or you can battle against them. So there is this unique interaction there. But to me, Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team is one of the coziest games. Like from the start menu, it's just cozy. It's not a mind-blowing story, but it was very unique for its time. I adore the game personally. I still highly recommend it. Some people aren't crazy about the combat. We'll talk about that in a moment. But what I think really separates the Mystery Dungeon series from the pack is the storytelling. I think it's really mature. And maybe not here, it's kind of innocent, which I like. But as you get into games like Explorers of Sky, as you get into especially a game like Super Mystery Dungeon, you're gonna sit there and go, wait, this is a Pokemon game though. I kid you not, especially right here. One of the, if not the best Pokemon story I've ever experienced. This game gets dark. Super Mystery Dungeon, put it on your purchase list immediately. I kid you not. I'll talk about that more in a moment, but let's talk about what I believe is the fan favorite. That's Explorers of Sky. I got this one for $90 at a local game shop in Connecticut. I'd heard so many good things about it. I do want to make a video on it, so I promise I'm going to do a So I Played for the first time. I did not play this to completion, so I will have less to say on it, but what I can tell from what I started up for this video is you kind of got that vibe of, this is emotional. Right away, your partner is standing on the beach and pontificating deeply on things. This is where I go when I feel kind of worthless. I'm thinking, what? Again, what? This is a Pokemon game. But for those who don't know, the developers behind the Pokemon Mystery Dungeon series are Spike Chunsoft. Now, Spike Chunsoft is responsible for the Danganronpa series, and Danganronpa being your boy's favorite visual novel series. I think that series is so twisted and messed up. I adore it. So, simply put, when you're going through the storytelling in this game, you'll start to see remnants of that. Granted, there's Spike and Spike Chunsoft, but make no mistake, the influence of Danganronpa is surprisingly felt in these games. I wish I was kidding, but I'm not. So anyway, we have Explorers of Sky here, definitely the most sought after one. There's Explorers of Time and Darkness, so in case you're wondering what you should pick up, go for this one. Think of it like Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, and then you have Emerald here. Same thing with Sky. So the back of the box says, now you can go beyond darkness, outside the limits of time, again, the two other versions, and go to the skies. Be a Pokemon and experience the world in a whole new way. Learn more secrets of time and darkness. Journey with your friends on remarkable adventures and save the world with expanded communication options, which allows you to trade items with Super Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time and Darkness, each sold separately. They mention who you meet as you explore the world and an ever-changing mystery dungeon. It explains here, and it's very, very fine print, so don't mind me. Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Sky, an extension of Mystery Dungeon Explorers of Time / Explorers of Darkness, contains new story elements and expanded play features, including different types of Pokemon and items. But people rave about the story here. This is the fan favorite. I gotta get to it. I'm gonna get to it. You have my word. But ladies and gentlemen, this game is another complete in box wonder, because right here you get a little bit of a Wii promotion, a good throwback here. Ready for this? Pokemon Rumble, Pokemon Arceus, and the Jewel of Life coming soon to DVD. Pokemon Puzzle League on the Wii Shop channel. My Pokemon Ranch, where your Mii characters will interact with Pokemon. Pokemon Snap. I mean, wow. And then you got back here the Platinum Arceus card set. Just full of throwbacks. You got the Nintendo Club there. Now, the manual will go over a lot of the same features that we went through in the original Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Blue Rescue Team. I love the art still. It's completely beautiful, don't get me wrong, but we're gonna focus less on that and now take the opportunity to talk about the combat. So as I said, the goal of this series is to answer your question, is it really that bad? And when it comes to Mystery Dungeon, the biggest sticking point for people is the gameplay. It's kind of random dungeons, they seem endless, they're difficult, and a lot of people find the combat boring. I personally like the kind of you take a turn, the enemy takes a turn nature. And by that I mean you can, for example, feint an enemy in. If there's a gap between you and an enemy, you can attack the air and they'll step in to you. And I like that because there is a layer, even though it's a small, thin layer, it is a layer of strategy. But for me, otherwise, I love the exploration of finding items. You know, sometimes there was that feeling, and you'll know if you played, where you're kind of getting a little tight, like it's getting down to the wire, and you travel down a stair set, and the stair set spawns near you, and you go, oh, thank God. Thank God, I need to get out of here as soon as possible. The item management, the difficulty, I love it because Pokemon in general, up until like Scarlet and Violet, I found it pretty easy. And so I was just really happy to have a challenging Pokemon game. And it's fine, it's easy. It's a series targeted for kids, not man-children like me, but I still found the challenge awesome. And I don't think it's like an artificial challenge. I love the sense of exploration, and the feeling of randomness actually helps this game. Normally I'm against it, but the idea of like stumbling into a Pokemon you really want and hoping, praying, like, please join my team. When they say yes, that, oh my God, I can't wait to get out of this dungeon, go back to the base, add them to my team, and then explore a dungeon with them. It's just a marvelous feeling that's just hard to describe. It's catching Pokemon on a different level. But really, to me, what carries this series, what carries my interest, is the story, the music. It's all absolutely fantastic. And I think for a lot of people, Explorers of Sky is the absolute best. You kind of have this upgraded version of what happened with Blue Rescue Team. Just they kind of know what they need to do here. They understand the strengths, they understand the weaknesses. You know, they still have the similar systems, like instead of the Makuhita dungeon, it's the Marowak dungeon. You still have, or dojo, sorry. You still have the same elements, but they just play with different generations and types of Pokemon for them. But Explorers of Sky is one I apologize I have less to say on because I haven't played it much. What we'll move into next, though, is Pokemon Mystery Dungeon Gates to Infinity. This one, across fans and critics alike, seems to be the most panned one. This was the leap to 3D. So all these Mystery Dungeon games here came with that beautiful pixel art that you know and love, whereas this was Mystery Dungeon's leap to 3D. I think some people are just a teensy bit hard on it. I don't think it's great. It definitely, oh my God, does some of the dialogue go on for a while with nothing interesting happening? It's like the writers are just bored and just keep going, just keep going. One thing that these games do have to them that's fantastic is pace. Like within the first 5 minutes of each game, you're in your first mystery dungeon, just getting acclimated to all the new features. It does not waste your time. With this game, however, Gates to Infinity, it certainly does take its time getting you into the thick of things. So the back says, the fate of the Pokemon world is in your hands. Step through the Magna Gate and bring back hope. With endless dungeons and infinite possibilities, and inside every round object, discover a Magna Gate. We'll quickly go through the complete box experience here because it's pretty thin. They started to recognize here that the features are getting pretty similar, so why make a fat booklet like I had earlier when you can just turn it into one sheet of paper like this that just completely unfolds. Now you'll see here, it's just how to play. You explore dungeons, you get to build your own paradise in this game. We'll talk about that later. It talks about some of the online features, the buttons, what they do, the communication features. So it's pretty simple. It's nothing different from anything I've talked about earlier when it comes to combat. This is a promotion for the DLC, however, and this is a good reminder that, yeah, the Nintendo Store, it's going away. And look at that black and white promotion here too. But the Nintendo Store for 3DS is going away. And so look at all these eShop games that are just going to be gone. Dream Radar, Pokemon or Pokédex 3D Pro, Rumble Blast. It's interesting to see just how much history is going to go. But that's a complete in-box copy outside of, sorry, the Club Nintendo slip you'll get there. It's about, I paid a little bit extra for it because I needed a complete in-box copy as soon as possible, but I paid for, I think, around $40-ish, which is stupid on my part because I had it already in a cartridge on the GameStop roulette, and so silly me, I didn't really need to buy it. But The defining feature for Gates to Infinity really is the Magna Gate and the building of your own paradise. You'll eventually get all the bells and whistles from the previous shops and stuff, but I kind of like the general progression and unlocking of it, even if it feels a little padded out. But the Magna Gate is this feature where you'll see me here taking a cup and you line it up with your camera on your 3DS and it'll drop you into a dungeon, so you can just have these infinite, endless dungeons. But you can tell it's like, well, but my feeling was, well, isn't that already the game? Now I gotta take a camera and go, oh, hey, look at this, guys. Like, I don't know, it just felt kind of pointless, even if it was gimmicky and cool. You do it once and you go, okay. Anyway, moving on. So yeah, Gates to Infinity definitely is the divisive one that I could see fans falling off of, but the return to form was this game here for many. Pokemon Super Mystery Dungeon. Just one version again, by the way. It says the definitive Pokemon Mystery Dungeon game. Become a Pokemon, go on an adventure, and save the world. Now you have all 720 species of Pokemon, at the time at least, an unknown peril in the world of Pokemon. Go on adventures and rescue missions, make friends with every Pokemon, and battle your way through dangerous dungeons. Now, what was actually pretty interesting is these games all kind of encourage, and it's really just Nintendo's mantra about like, hey, go outside, you nerd. Like, for example, here with Explorers of Sky, you could actually share a demo with a friend. So if they didn't have the game and you had the game, you could send them a demo, which is so fascinating and really describes how word of mouth has been Nintendo's best friend for years. Whereas Super Mystery Dungeon is like, just huddle up at home. The online features here are great and you got everything you need in just one version. So complete box copy here just focuses on the demo for Alpha Sapphire and Omega Ruby. Nothing else really. Pokemon Shuffle. The inside here has the Mystery Dungeon theme, but it is a pretty thin complete box copy because now we're getting towards the latter part of the 3DS's life cycle. So what's great about Mystery Dungeon here on the 3DS is it's a return to form for people. It's finally, back to the classic vibe. The gameplay hasn't seen any major shakeups across all these entries, which is why critics continue to beat down on it. But for fans like me, we love that type of stuff. It's like, yeah, I would love a little bit more, sure, but like, I could see them going a tactics route with it. That would be really cool. But do we really need to drastically shake it up? Maybe not. It seems like a cult classic and it does well for Nintendo. So for me personally, I like that it went back to the classic vibe because, for example, Gates to Infinity didn't have the questionnaire. So when you fire that game up, you go, what the mid is this? But then you go back into Super Mystery Dungeon. And as I said earlier, there it is. The questionnaire is back. You don't get the Pokemon you want. That's fine. Now for me, they gave me Squirtle. So I was like, oh, okay, let's do it, man. We're good to go. We're fine. I love Squirtle. And then I got started and it immediately came crashing back to me in that opening cutscene. The focus on darkness in this game. There is a 15-hour stretch, which I know is asking a lot of time of you, but it's kind of a steady, familiar Pokemon Mystery Dungeon experience that gradually builds the plot behind the scenes. And it does, I will be honest with you, ask for your patience quite a bit. I remember I was ready to drop it, but I stuck with it. The second half of Super Mystery Dungeon is some of the most lit Pokemon storytelling ever. It gets super dark. There are plot twists everywhere. I was glued to my 3DS once things started to ramp up. It's like all of a sudden the writers went, what are we doing? Let's go crazy with this. And they did. It gets extremely good. If you are going to play any Mystery Dungeon game, let it be this one here. It's definitely one of the cheapest. I remember when I picked this up in 2020, it cost me about 20 bucks. I think it's gone up a bit since then, especially now that the 3DS shop is shutting down. But otherwise, ladies and gentlemen, this series of games here, I find to be special. I know they're not everyone's cup of tea, but I like them. And are they really that bad? No, I genuinely don't think so. Like, I truly do like this series a lot, and I think it gets a bad rap from critics because I get it. As like a critic myself, sometimes you're looking for the new thing and you may lose focus of what it means to a community. And I think this is one of those cases where like you have a really fun, cool series here. And yeah, the only one I really got to catch up on here is Explorers of Sky. That's the one that I'm sleeping on, and I got to see what everyone's talking about. So keep an eye out for that. But with that, ladies and gentlemen, that's my video on the entire Mystery Dungeon series. I'm looking forward to seeing your thoughts. Take excellent care of yourselves, and I will see you in the next Retro Rebound. Peace.